Hi everyone, good morning, and we will start our webinar. First of all, thank you everybody for participating in our webinar. This is a webinar from Senha Segura entitled How to Stop a Ransomware Attack Through PAM. Before we start, we say that the session has been recorded and everybody is on mute mode. You can type your questions on the Q&A session of this of the tool, and then we will answer all the questions in a final session in the webinar. Everybody is on mute, and the session has been recorded. We will receive a copy of the recording probably somewhere this week, okay, or next week. So we will start our presentation. First of all, who we are. Shaikh, maybe you can introduce yourself and say a little bit about your work at Ross.
Hello everyone. Good morning. Well, my name is Sheikh Sham. I'm the security consultant for RAS Infotech, and we help a lot of customers to solve all their social engineering issues, especially relates to risk management or whether it is relates to PAM and all. So basically, expertise in risk management and unauthorized access and all.
Excellent. I'm David Muniz, and I'm speaking from Brazil. I'm a knowledge management Senha Segura since 2017, and I have participated in some processes for evaluating the product in companies such as Gartner, Forrester, and all of these consulting companies. And I'm now part of the marketing team and help them to produce content and such as this webinar. And finally, we have Gabriel. Hi, Gabriel. How are you?
Hello, David. I'm good. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Oba. I am an assistant analyst here at Sie Segura since 2017. And I am the product owner of Sie Segura Go.
Excellent. So we will start with our agenda. So first of all, we'll see the rise of cyber threats, not only in the world, but specifically in the Middle East. We will introduce the principle of least privilege, and then we will introduce also the privilege access management to solve the problem of the least privilege, and how Senha Segura helps implementing the principle of least privilege. And finally, we will see benefits and results of Senha Segura Go. So first of all, we will see the rise of cyber threats.
Yes, David.
Yeah, you can start, Sheikh. Sheikh will introduce the threats of COVID, of cyber threats in the world and also in the Middle East.
Great, thank you, David. So coming to cyber threats, which is happening a lot these days, and why exactly it is happening, and why a UAE market, not only UAE, especially the Middle East market, is being targeted in regards to the ransomware and everything. So now we all know that we are living in this pandemic situation, COVID-19, and that is one of the reasons where you could see most of your applications, most of your web applications or internal applications has to be exposed because your employees, your users are working from home. So in that kind of concept, work from home concept, so people has to live with it. Then you need to expose your application. So that is the place where you could see the factor of ransomware attacks getting increased. So we normally have seen the exponential growth of 250% in relates to ransomware, especially in the Middle East. And why exactly it is happening, and how you can protect ransomware attacks by having a PAM solution. Okay, we will see this in next slides. So coming to the next slide, cyber threat. Okay, top 3 cyber threats you could see in the Middle East is because of one thing. Could be a data breach happening where ransomware could try to expose your credentials, your privileged credentials, and maybe it's trying to access your credentials through any means, through a brute force attack or something. Second thing could be a phishing attacks, from where it could be a spear phishing, it could be a phishing from where hacker or a spammer could entice you to take you to that specific link and make a few clicks. Targeted attack, again, that is ransomware. So what is exactly ransomware? Okay, just to have a clear understanding on what is ransomware. And ransomware is basically, it's a package of malwares. All right. If you have gone to any anonymous site or something through a phishing attack or through spear phishing attack or something, you may download few plugins or something. So through that, what happens is, a malware could get downloaded on your machine. So how ransomware penetrates within your network is because, once a malware is downloaded on your machine, all right, that is, let's say that is a ransomware, it doesn't attack immediately. All right, it tries to investigate your network. It tries to check your whole network infrastructure, like whether who are my privileged credentials, who are my main assets. So basically from there it will try to target your most sensitive data available in your organization. So that is the place where we can say, like, when the credentials are access. So imagine if your domain admin credentials are not secured. Imagine if your domain admin credentials got compromised, then that could be a huge impact. Then the ransomware attacker could have a criminal access to your sensitive data all over your network. So domain admin credentials, for sure, he will have access to whole network. So basically from there, he will have the ability to lock your files and halt your whole business processes. Excellent. So having a PAM solution, you can have leverages done by password vault and everything. Can we move to the next slide, David? So here you can see cyber threats, how it is been increased exponentially. That is through, Emotet antivirus has been awarded, as the highest rating in regards to the global threats happened all over the globe, because Emotet is basically like a package many industries use to do a spam test and all. So it has been rated as first in December 2020. Yeah, next slide, please. And here you could see, in the next slides, all right, you could see how exactly hackers and spammers try to get into your network and try to do a brute force attack. Okay, I can share you a real-time example that one of our customer has got a ransomware attack, and how it got attacked because of his applications got exposed on the external network, because they use AX terminal. So many of they got like 200 plus outlets, and users log in through the terminal host server to gain access to their internal machines. So one of the user actually got compromised through a brute force attack. And from then on, it tried to gain access to all the servers. And you can imagine now, once it is into your network, it can penetrate, and then it can, encrypt all your servers from then on. So protecting credentials, protecting your assets, protecting the access, basically David would be explaining you in the next slides how you can implement the least privileges. That is the most important thing. If a user is logging in, how you should make sure to have least privilege access to those users. To you, David. And these are again few more slides. You could see, okay, how Middle East facing cyber pandemic because of COVID. Again, the same thing. What cyber chief has said, okay, which is exponential increase in the ransomware and cyber threats. Not only ransomware, there are of course different attacks happening as well. So having a PAM solution will secure those attacks.
Yeah,
Next
and
slide.
we must say that in the period that they researched, they have seen an increase of 250% in cyber attacks last year in 2020, and ransomware incidents increasing in frequency. And also, according to the United Arab Emirates governments, the financial sector was one of the most attacked areas, as well as the health sector, of course, because of the pandemic. And another good data that we could bring from this slide is that according to CyberEdge's report, cyber threat defense in the Middle East and Africa, ransomware attacks affected nearly 6 in 10 companies, which is approximately 61%. That is more than in Europe, that had 57%, and the same percentage as Latin America. That's some important data to bring on this slide.
So here also you can see how the ransomware has driven by 45% increase in the healthcare cyber attacks, because the healthcare industry, especially where you have the confidential information like medical records of your patients, which is very critical, of course. So we might have seen that WannaCry attack happened earlier, long back, but again, that is being exposed because all your applications are being exposed. So 45% increase again in the healthcare cyber attacks. And we also have heard about 81 million Bangladesh bank heist. If you might have not heard of it, okay, just let me put some light on that. How 81 million bank heist has happened in Bangladesh is, it was a very smart move, I could say. Hacker tried to install a small malware on that specific machine, and what that malware did is it got access to another machine where the Swift codes are there. And when this user doing the transactions, what malware did at the backend is it just changed the Swift code, and the Swift code is changed, and the hacker got 81 millions in his pocket. And the next day you could see that bank is bankrupt. It's all gone. So this is one of the major scenario where you could see in the banking industries and the health industries and everything. So coming to the next slide is about the compliance. Yeah, cyber threat. You could see again percentage of attacks that use hacking technique, because there are techniques like you could say brute force attack. You could say kind of, if there is a web application, you could say a kind of scripting attacks. If any applications got any exploits on that specific application, they try to penetrate and gain access, whether they could do a different attack, SQL injection, or cross-site scripting, or within the network, they could do a brute force attack and try to gain the credentials of privileged accesses. So that is the reason, please, where we see 80% of the hacking attacks is used to steal your, privileged credentials, and that is specially obtained through brute force, because this is human tendency, right? What human tendency is like, a user could put an easy password to remember. Okay, this is the human tendency. So if you leave it to the machine end, where passwords has to be randomized and all. So again, where the Sinasagura thing comes in. Yeah, do you want to add anything here? All right. So next we have is 37% of average cost of cyber attacks involved using the privileged credentials, because you are again, privileged credentials getting compromised, that is around 37%, and you can see the damage happened is $4.77 million already. So industries with the highest cost of data breaches happen, it is getting increased day by day. You could see has gone almost right now to 8.6 million through your credentials getting compromised.
Something important to add here, Sheikh, is that the average cost of our cyber attack involving privileged credentials is substantially higher than the average overall cost. And while the average overall cost is 3.86 million, the average cost when involves a privileged credential is pretty much 1/3 of that. And also, if we consider the healthcare sector, which is been highly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, it has almost 3 times the average cost than the overall cost in the research. That is something that is important to add.
Great, David. Thank you. And the risk factors. Okay, because of this pandemic situation, the risk factors, if you see more users connecting remotely because work from home phenomena has been introduced, and people has to work and the business has to go on. Due to that, of course, your applications are exposed, and maybe user may have to bring his own device. So BYOD concept coming in. So there could be a malware or something on that specific machine. And shadowing IT, there could be someone else trying to see what exactly could be happening on the IT department, and trying to do the impersonation kind of things. Security policies less enforced, because then you make the service availability, the delivery of whether it is an application or the product to the customers could be on priority. So the service policies could be less enforced, and you may not have whatever the vulnerabilities checklist. You may have to do a risk assessment kind of thing, or checklist to be done before exposing the application to the external network. That may not be happening on many customer sites. And less endpoints monitoring then, because BYOD concept coming in action, and there is no monitoring and control again, because you may not have access to those specific, like if you ITS something, if you just bring that thing in here, like if you want to have a full monitoring on that machine. So less endpoint monitoring and control again. So these are the major factors that you could see why there is a phenomenal increase in the ransomware, that is to 50% more. Yeah, next slide, David, please. All right, so coming to the regulations and fines. Okay, but this is one of the major second thing could be coming in why customer has to go through the PAM, is to have the regulation done, to have the compliance, to meet the compliance. If they are into healthcare industry, HIPAA compliance is the most important thing. Okay, if they are following ISO standards, if they are following GDPR standards, so data privacy laws, of course, we know it better in different industry countries and regions where you could see, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, we all have different kind of regulations. So if you see where we could see like HIPAA compliance, where you need to have to get certified with HIPAA, you need to have certain solutions, and there you could see the standards coming in to have access credentials to be secured. And here you can see that compliance with other standards. When you are following a standard, whether it is an ISO standard or GDPR or PII, personal identity information, or HIPAA compliance, you could see everywhere compliance with other standards, how you are managing your identity and access management thing. And here also you could see the major thing coming in is controlling your administrative privileges and how you are managing the privilege accounts exactly. So it's all about regulatory and compliance. First thing would be, of course, to secure the network, and second thing also would be participating in this compliance to have this done for the organization. Do you want to add anything here, David?
No, I'm just one thing that it is important to mention is that the SIS controls that have been developed by SANS Institute, if you take a look, they have a dedicated control specifically to talk about and to address the control use of administrative privileges. That is something that I just want to highlight.
And coming to small and medium businesses, if we have seen the percentage wise, SMB SMB customers, if you see 60% of the business within the 6 months they close it if they get a cyber attack. and 28% of the cyber attack involves small and medium enterprise.
Yeah,
So
and
here you could see the
almost 1/3 of them, it's related to small and business enterprises, right? Sheikh, this is impressive
Correct.
numbers, I think.
Absolutely correct. So if you see our audience, if they fall into SMB side, you could see 1/3, 60% of the organizations, they are closing once they get a cyber attack because they can't afford it. I mean, like some customers would be like, because they have to rebuild the whole infra, they need to rebuild the whole infrastructure. Because even though they won't get a guarantee, if they pay the ransom amount, files get decrypted. So there is no guarantee. So there is a huge loss. So to protect that thing, that factor, yeah.
And that's also the thing, Sheikh, that we must say that cyber criminals are changing their shift from big companies to small companies. And in my opinion, first of all, is that because big companies are taking care of their cybersecurity areas and their cybersecurity issues, it makes more difficult for attackers to break and to perform attacks. So that's why we're seeing a shift from the cyber criminals, from big companies and mature companies to small companies. Well, they will have a last return, they will have last financial gains, but at least they have more sure that the cyber attacks will take place. And I'll speak specifically about the principle of least privilege, okay? Well, first of all, we have this common scenario. Users, usually with the maturity, companies, they take care privileges from their users. So usually the user has a normal, a standard user with less privileges, and then they depend on the administrative privileges to install software, for example, to run applications with privileges, and also to perform Windows tasks, like, for example, changing the date and the time, and to start a share drive, for example, or to change settings on the network adapter. So those are basically some of the administrative tasks that the user has can perform with privileges. But then, if you grant users privileges without control, you have higher business risks, and then you have a higher expanded attack surface. And now we have now this figure to show how the attack performs the attacks. So first of all, the attacker, they perform an attack which could be social engineering, for example, and then they are able to steal privileged credential and then gain access to to one device. And with that access to this specific device, the attacker can move laterally in the environment, and then they can access other infrastructure resources. And if you don't have the appropriate control of the actions that are performed, you cannot detect malicious attacks and movements. So we can see here that 280 days, almost 1 year, is the average time that the cybersecurity team takes to identify and stop a data breach in a company, which is impressive because the attacker gets almost 1 year of movement inside the environment. So can you imagine the damage that the attacker can perform in the environment if they are not properly detected and removed from the environment? And then if the malicious attacker is able to compromise an endpoint and move sideways through the environment, it is possible that the security incident will not be detected by the cybersecurity team for days or even months. And then what are the impacts of our cyber attacks? Well, first of all, we have the loss of confidence. Researchers tell that people are willing not to make businesses with companies that do not take care appropriately of the data from customers, employees, partners, and third parties. All of these people are affected, not only customers, okay, but also, of course, also employees. Imagine yourself working in a company that has been victim of a cyber attack, and then your data is out there in the internet. Also, we have sanctions in case of a data breach. Sheikh has introduced us data privacy laws, specifically in the Middle East. They probably don't have the same amount of sanctions, but they probably will punish companies that do not comply with data privacy regulation. Then we have loss of revenue, because, well, if you have a cyber attack that interrupts your operation, then you have, well, you don't have revenue, and then you have to remediate, and then you have higher operational costs to solve the problem of the data breach, which brings to increased operational costs, and which overall affects business continuity, which is the most important, is that the business is up. And then you ask me, okay, Dave, what should I do then? Well, we have spoken about some regulations and some frameworks, and I like syscontrols a lot, because it comprises a lot of information security aspects. So bringing that into account, and bringing the syscontrol number 4, which is talks specifically about the controlled use of administrative privilege, we have all of these subcontrols that you have to comply with. So the first of all is to maintain an inventory of administrative accounts. And then we have change default passwords and ensure that the users use they make the use of administrative accounts, which means that they have to have a dedicated or secondary account just for elevated privilege. And then you have unique passwords, multi-factor authentication for all administrative access, limited of scripting tools and access to those tools, limited access to scripting tools. Log and alert also is very important, especially now in the zero trust times, and when you don't have the security perimeter. And I'll talk specifically about privileged access management. Well, this diagram shows exactly what Senha Segura does. So Senha Segura is a PAM solution that allows the user to either have direct access to the assets, and the assets could be a cloud environment, social media, servers, network devices, applications, databases. So the solution can deliver the password to the user and then rotate and reset the password after the user has been used the password. Or Senha Segura can act as a proxy, as an access proxy. So the user will perform the access through Senha Segura with all the features that we offer, with integration with CM syslog. So your SOC team and your cybersecurity team can be alerted every time the user does something that is not that is maybe a suspicious activity. And of course, we have monitoring features that can be integrated with SNMP and syslog, and also backup, which is very important now that we're talking about cyber attacks. So, and also we have integration with Active Directory and LDAP for using to use the tool. And now,
David, I would like to add a few points here.
Of course.
So here, thank you. So here I'd like to few points here. If you see here, the user, when he's trying to gain access to your resources, whether it is a web application, or if it is your server, or if it is a network device, so end user doesn't know anything. Yani he get access to the PAM solution, which is like a gem server, and here you are maintaining your identity. So user will not know any credentials, or you can give access to the credentials, but user may not able to view what is the exact password. So he can log into his Senha Segura login credentials, and he can gain access to the resources what he's assigned. And of course, we have vectors here. Once example, if user has gained access to the network device example, then immediately a password should change. or a password should change after 15 days or 30 days, that kind of vectors. And moreover, we have, like what David has just said, we can have behavior analysis again, that we say like UEBA kind of thing, user entity and behavior analysis, where you could see a very good reports coming in based on behavior based, and also threat analysis reports if user is doing any anonymous actions, any anomaly kind of thing if he is detecting. So we can see all those things in reporting format as well. Back to you, David.
Yep, thank you, Sheikh. And then we have the Senha Segura Go solution, which is basically, before we talk about the privilege access and session management, and now we're talking about elevating privilege of the user. So if we can make an analogy with the graphic here, imagine that the user here has a computer. So the computer can access the PAM solution, the access and session management solution, and then this computer should be the user using his computer. So here you have, for example, in your Windows device, you can start applications, you can start control panel features, you can run automation macros, you can configure network adapters, you can configure file sharing, and also you can see the password of a credential. And then through Senha Segura Go, you have the authorization to start all of those applications with the same benefits of the PAM solution, which is the full traceability of actions that are performed in the environment, including user behavior and sending of alert through CN and syslog. Is there anything you wanted to add here, Sheikh?
Well, that is all, David. It was very much clear. So here you can see, we can, I just want to add here the kind of privileges if you want to give to any user. That's what David said. So yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I can showcase this example and a real-time scenario also to everyone.
So talking about the privileged access management, we have designed it like a framework to assess the level of privileged access management maturity in the company. So we have non-control, we have low maturity of privileged access management. When you have generic users, and then you have no traceability of the actions performed in the environments. That leaves your risks in maximum amount because you don't have traceability. You cannot have accountability of the actions that have been performed in the environment, which brings the maturity to a minimal level. You have low maturity of privileged access management in your organization. And then you can, of course, assess and see which of these levels your company is in. You have minimal control when you have like personal privileged users, but still you have low traceability of privileged actions. The risk is still high, the maturity is still low. Next level of PAM is when you have a password vault solution, you have a PAM solution like Senha Segura, which brings the privileged access to a higher traceability, but still you have a medium risk and medium cybersecurity maturity. And when you have the state of the art, when using a PAM solution, you have all of the features that the PAM solution can offer. You use it for remote access. You block all of the ports for access outside of the PAM solution, which means that you only will access a device through Senha Segura and through the PAM solution, which brings maximum traceability of the privileged access before in the environment. Which and also, if you use the scan discovery feature of Senha Segura, you have continuous device and credential onboarding. We'll talk more about this feature later on. And when you use controls such as MFA to perform actions, to perform a session, to log in the solution, this also increase your maturity in privileged access management. Of course, behavioral analysis, black, white, and gray list approval workflows. Our workflows are one of the best, one of the most granular in the market. We allow up to 3 levels of managers, so you can this brings maximum adherence to your policies and to your cybersecurity policies. And why privileged access management is so important? Gartner has recognized the importance of implementing adequate privilege management, choosing PAM for 2 years in a row as the #1 project in information security. And when you implement the appropriate privileged access management control, it is possible to address cybersecurity needs and also to reduce associated risks. Some of these risks include the lack of visibility of assets connected to your infrastructure, and also their respective credential and privilege, the lack of privileged access management, and also the lack of traceability of the actions that have been carried out in the environment. These risks are directly related, and it is very important that your company and your cybersecurity team, it is impossible to track what is not management. And it is possible to manage what is not known. Finally, how Senha Segura helps implementing the principle of least privilege. So we have our scan discovery feature, and Gartner has praised our scan discovery capabilities. We have Senha Segura also offers open connectors, which provides full connectivity even with legacy infrastructure. The use of this feature allows the discovery, registration, and also the management of the devices in the environment and their respective credential. What the solution does, Senha Segura scans and analyzes the entire networks, and this allows any asset to be inserted in the environment and can be brought into Senha Segura. And that could be devices, that could be credentials, that could be DevOps containers, playbooks, certificates, and also SSH keys.
Great. So here I just want to add, David.
Yeah.
Yes, David. I just want to add a few things here. When you are going to discover the devices, credentials, and all, in very granular way, you can discover the devices and credentials, like based on, on a domain level. If you want to discover based on a specific VLAN range or something like that, on a range, if you want to discover the devices and credentials. Also, if you are running domain credentials, if you're running any service accounts, if you're running any, local services, local accounts, example. So you can discover the credentials and the certificates. Okay, the most painful area you can say for any customer is the certificates. So Senha Segura can manage all your certificates as well of any organization. So what here the certificate is, IT team may not remember when a specific certificate getting expired, if they have a CSC certificate or something. Okay, if they have 8 to 10 web applications hosted, and that to a different certificates from different vendors. So we have a module called certificate management, where you can manage all your certificates in one single solution. And this certificate management can talk directly to whoever is your CA provider, like if it is a GoDaddy or network solution, whatever is the provider. So they go talk directly and they renew the certificate. Imagine Exchange Server certificate getting expired. It will go talk to the vendor, update the certificate, and go and update same thing on the Exchange Server as well. Same thing goes with the web applications and all.
Excellent.
That is it, David.
Thank you. Then we have credential management, and Senha Segura is able to manage all the passwords from the devices in your environment. And to mitigate the breaches and the risks to your company, to the data of your company, some of the best password practices include managing credential in a PAM solution, using the automatic password change feature, which means that in a predetermined usage course or time, the change of the device will be the password of the device will be changed, and this prevents users from sharing passwords or also from performing the access from outside of the PAM solution. Then we have the password strength also. And Senha Segura allows the configuration of passwords from a handful of devices. And also, it can adapt to the policy of the device. So let's say, for example, that one device only allows capital letters. And they only allow they don't allow repetitive numbers, for example, one number after the other. So Senha Segura allows adherence to those policies and allows also the passwords to be managed by the solution. Then we have multi-factor authentication. Senha Segura offers a multi-factor authentication feature, which provides an additional layer of security in the user login process, for example, and also when performing actions such as viewing a password, for example, or starting a remote session, as we have seen previously. In addition to these passwords, the user must enter a numeric code generated by an application on their smartphone. So it is very easy to use multi-factor authentication through Senha Segura. You can just install like Google Authentication or any other authentication solution, and then you can configure Senha Segura to demand a code, an additional code, and that brings an additional layer of security. Let's say, for example, that your Senha Segura password has been compromised, and then you are able to stop an attack of this type. Senha Segura also offers monitoring features. So we have a threat analysis module, which allows auditing, alert, and command block. And also the commands can be scored by the risk that is brought by to the user. And then some actions can be performed depending on this score. And also this allows detection of any lateral movements and privilege elevation. Then we have, of course, user behavior, taking into account zero trust frameworks that demand that the security perimeter is eliminated. So using the user behavior feature of Senha Segura, you are able to detect any suspicious access or any password view, for example, or any session based on some criteria. For example, the access number of access. Let's say, for example, that your team, someone from your team is they only access one application, for example, 1 or 2 times a day, and then in one specific day they access like 10, 15, 20 times, and the solution can detect this kind of discrepancy, and then they can, for example, block the access, and then there are a handful of actions that can be performed to stop any suspicious activity in the environment. In usual time, for example, a known origin, for example, let's say that you are from Saudi Arabia or from the United Arab Emirates, and then you are traveling to somewhere in the world, like let's say, for example, to Latin America, to Brazil, or to the US, or I don't know. And then the solution detects that you are accessing from a different place, and then they can bring alerts to your cybersecurity team. And of course, unknown origin and unusual duration. Senha Segura also offers a handful of PAM reports that can be customized by the user, and that brings a lower operational cost and also response time with periodic auditing. So we have a specific reports for PCI and for SOX and all of these compliance regulations. We have a graphic information dashboard which is unique in the PAM market. We have a visual graphic dashboard that allows total visibility of privileged access in the environment. And also Senha Segura integrates with CM and syslog to bring full alerts over suspicious activities. Is that anything you want to bring here, Sheikh or Gabriel? Is everything okay?
It is fine, David.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, we will get to the benefits and results of using Senha Segura. So the first one is the balance between security, privilege, and access. So the first thing is that when you adjust the privilege to exactly what the user needs, this reduces the attack surface. So the user will only have the privilege to perform the actions that they have been assigned to. So this, and also this brings a balance between security and productivity. So let's say that you bring security high, you implement multi-factor authentication, and you implement a set of controls to stop any suspicious activity, and then you of course reduce productivity in your environment. And if you of course want to raise the productivity, you of course have to affect security somehow. So this is a balance, and the challenge here is to find a balance between security and productivity. So you don't get higher operational costs because you have people having to work more, and at the same time you have the proper amount of security to ensure that you are compliant with your policies and all the regulations in the market. So when using Senha Segura as a PAM solution in our Senha Segura Go solution, you have first compliance with regulation and security policies, as I have said before. You have implementation of the principle of least privilege, which is required by some, if not all of the regulation and legislation about cybersecurity. And of course, you ensure business continuity, which is, after all, I think one of the most important aspects to be considered as a benefit of using Senha Segura as a PAM solution. Okay, so
Great, David.
So if you want to know more, of course, you can access our website to see a demonstration of the product, and then we can give you a presentation, a demonstration of the product.
Well, I can give a quick demonstration on the product. Is that okay to share the screen? I hope everyone can see the screen. So this is how the PAM solution exactly looks like. So you can just directly log in using, of course, we can integrate this with Active Directory. So users can log in using his own AD credentials. We have different types of authentications, local authentication, AD, radius to CACs, and all we support. And once you log in, you can see which devices exactly assigned to that specific machine, to that user, because here you see in the PAM solution, you can segregate. All right. So system users will have access to the servers, network users will have access to the network devices, application access will be to the application users. So that can be done through access grouping. Okay. So here I just want to give a quick overview on how PAM can be done. So you can add the devices, you can add the credentials, and you can manage all your privileged credentials from the credential vault itself. And I just want to pinpoint here, the credential vault is encrypted. All right, it's an AES 256-bit encrypted. So if you want to decrypt any credential vault, something in case of any like a drop down or something, then you need to have the decryption keys. So coming to access, so you can add, like I said, you will add your credentials for the first time, and then you can directly access to the server. Let me just show you how you can quickly access to the server. You just click on this button and you can just log into the machine. That's it. And I'm logging into this server, okay, with a privileged credentials of, classify admin. I'm logging into one of the server which has, admin rights on this machine. And I don't know the password of this user at all. If you want to view the password, of course, you can give access. And if they view the password, if any user has viewed the password, we can do the password randomization. So here you can see I have directly logged into the machine. Now let's say, example, if I'm a DB administrator, right? And of course, for the DB administrator, you may not give him access to the whole server. I mean, he can do the changes on the time, he can do the changes on the network, he can do the changes, any changes he can do it, right? So here, if I'm a DB admin, so you may give me access only to the SQL Management Studio. So here you can do what we say as, remote apps. So web applications can be published and you can pinpoint the specific applications giving access to the user. So here the least privilege concept coming in action. So here we are, minimizing the access of that user. So this user is having access only to the SQL Management Studio on the server. The same way, if customers are using, SAP, or if they are using Dynamics, okay, so whatever they are using, you can minimize the access. So any applications can be, we can create the parameters and we can add that macros to this to this machine. This is related to the Windows. When you have something, Linux-based machines, okay. So example, of course, you can access the Linux machines as well. And in the Linux machine, okay, of course, once it is logged in, you can, of course, just 1 second, let it get logged in. All right, so I have access, okay, and I can do whatever I want again on this Linux machine. So let's say I have gone to etc folder and I'm trying to check what folders I have exactly, and I'm trying to run the sudo commands or something using the power user. So if you want me to stop, let's say I'm running a command called vim. So here we have a feature called audited commands. So you can restrict the user running certain commands on the session itself. And in fact, you can halt the session, you can terminate the session as well, depending on the criticality of the command. So here I just now locked it. So that's the reason I can still continue my work. But if you want, you can halt the session as well. And the more importantly, once a user has taken a session and he has done something, that has to be monitored. So everything is monitored under the remote sessions. So when you come to the remote sessions, you can see all your training, all your sessions are being recorded, and you can view the session from here itself. And also you can see if there are any kind of audit trials can be enabled, keyloggers can be also enabled if someone has tried to do something. And let me just show you a quick recorded video. Like just now I have taken this session, so that will convert into the recorded video. And the very good thing with Sena Segura is the kind of pixelation they do when it gets recorded is very good. Like you can say 1 GB of 1 hour. I'm sorry, 1 hour of the duration, because maybe the sessions could go very long. It could go for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on that. So 1 hour of duration could just take around 130, 140 MB of the storage, because storage, again, that concept come in when the customer says about the PAM. So it just take 120. So the pixelation side, we are very good. And moreover, coming to the process flow. If a user needs to take access to specific machine, here I did not put the approval processes. So you can have the approvals defined on that specific group, and you can also define when they have to get approved. Let's say you just need to have reason why do you want to have a session, like just a reason for the auditing purpose, or if there are any critical servers that has to be approved by your line manager. If I'm taking a session, my line manager has to approve it. And approvals can go, let's say my line manager is on vacation. Okay, you can keep multiple approvals. Okay, you can keep two people, yani that what happens here is, yani two people has to approve. And out of two people, let's say if one of the person has disapproved it, khalas, yani I cannot continue on that session anymore. So you can also define the criteria based on device type, based on credential types. Okay, the groups can be created and the user will have access. And one more example is, imagine if there are like, there are a lot of sessions happening, not like one, two, they could be like, hundreds of sessions happening if it is a huge customer. Okay, so we do have a very good feature called Threat Radar. So Threat Radar is something where you could see the live sessions happening. All right. So here you could see just now I have taken the Ubuntu server. Okay. And why it is showing in red? Because I have just run that command vim, which was there in the audited commands. And you can see the risk comes with that command. And of course, you can pull out very good reports with relates to threat analysis, with relates to the behavior and all. So of course, I can click on this and I can view what exactly has happened. And I can also view the session. If there is a live stream happening from here itself, I can view that live stream as well. And from sitting from here itself, and one single dashboard on your SOC, and I can hold that session from here itself, and I can stop and block that session. The report sites are very good, fantastic. And if you see the reports, and this is the discovery part where you would be discovering the assets based on device credentials, SS keys and everything. And moreover, coming to one more good feature, we have a Sinasagura Go. Okay, Sinasagura Go is a feature where, imagine if you have, a help desk user, and help desk user, you want to give privileges to a specific application to run, like, like Active Directory users in computers to run using the privileged credential, and that user should not know the password. All right. So with Sinasagura Go, all right, if you have installed that agent on that endpoint, because I have one agent here currently, just one second. Just give me one moment, please.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Oba. I am a system analyst here at Sie Segura and the product owner of Sie Segura Go. My goal here is to show a use case of Sie Segura Go applying the principle of least privilege. Okay, Gabriel, but what is Sie Segura Go? Sie Segura Go is an endpoint privilege manager. That is an application which the main functions are giving granular access to applications based on registry policy and the elevation of the user privilege. So, first, I have the Sie Segura Go installed on my machine. I'm not going to cover the installation because it isn't the goal of this presentation. But if there is any doubt, please feel free to contact our support. So, how Sie Segura Go works? It communicates directly to Sie Segura's PAM, and based on this, we retrieve policies which were set to this user and device. So here I have my vault. And at this moment, I have no policies that defines what the user can execute. So right now, the user has access to execute anything. And here we have access lists, and these lists can define which applications, control panel functions, automations, and even installers I can execute in my machine. But before the setup, it is important to understand two key concepts: blacklist and whitelist. So first, what is blacklist? Blacklist is a list of applications which we can define which applications the user won't be able to execute. So in this case, I only allow applications to run which aren't in the blacklist. And what is the whitelist? Whitelist is the opposite of the blacklist. It is a list which we can use to set applications that the user will be able to execute. So in this case, I only allow applications that are in the whitelist. Now, back at Sie Segura, we're gonna create a policy. In this policy, which is an application list, we're gonna give it a name. So first we're gonna create here. It's gonna be a blacklist of applications. I'm gonna give it a name. Set the type of blacklist. Save. And now we're gonna define which users. Which applications will be in the blacklist. So for this example, we're gonna use the CMD. Let me just filter. Here it is. I'm gonna add to the blacklist the command prompt from Windows. And then I'm gonna save. So right now, if we go back to the Sie Segura Go, if we refresh here, now the Sie Segura Go is retrieving the new policies, and as you can see, I cannot execute command prompts right now. So if I try to click here, it won't let me. I can just not click the application that is in the blacklist. Well, this is the blacklist. Now we're gonna go back at the Sie Segura vault, and we're gonna set a new policy. In this case, we're gonna use applications, but now we're gonna use the whitelist. So we're gonna give it a name. I'm gonna save it. And for this case of whitelist, we're gonna allow only the team viewer. So I'm gonna search for team viewer. There's no results yet. So it is in here, but we can just add. We can find the location. We just need to drag and drop here as applications. Now the applications is registered. If we refresh here, if we search for team viewer, now we can add the team viewer to our application pool of the whitelist. So in this moment, when I save it, we are only gonna have access to execute the team viewer application. And done. So in this case, just to show you guys, my user does not have permission to execute this file for this application. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna elevate the user privilege just to execute the TeamViewer. But first, let's just show here. Since we added a whitelist, now the only application that is allowed to be executed, it is the TeamViewer. So here, I execute the TeamViewer, and soon enough, it will open the application. So, as you can see, it opens the TeamViewer. But if I try to execute outside of the Segura Go, that user will not have the privilege. I'm trying to execute, but since my user does not have the permissions to read and execute, he won't let me. So as you can see again, my user does not have the permissions. So this was an example of whitelist using applications. And for last, we're gonna demonstrate a case of whitelist using control panel. So in this new list, we're gonna use this category, which is control panel. We're gonna give it a name, list of control panel. We're gonna save it. And then we're gonna add a function of Windows here. So in this case, we're gonna use date and time, just because it is an easy feature to demonstrate. We're gonna add it here. We're gonna save. And we are good to go. So here in the control panel, I cannot execute any other functions besides date and time. So if I try to click here, date time function, it will open. And when in general in Windows, when you have this shield right here, it means that you need administrative rights, admin rights to run this application or function. So in this case, we just click here. As you can see, we can change the date and time of the machine. But if you try to go outside the Segura Go, since we would not have the admin rights to do so, because we don't have the credentials. Only the Segura Go has the administrative credentials, so it's more safe. So let's just demonstrate that. If we go here at control panel, search for date and time, here we have the same function that we have here at Segura Go. But when we try to click in this shield, it will not let me, because my user is a common user. It does not have admin rights. So if I click here, I'm not sure if it's gonna show to you guys, but it's gonna prompt the UAC prompt, which will ask for a privileged credential. But since the end user does not have an admin credential, he will not be able to perform this function. So I'm not sure if you guys can see, but to me it's showing the user account control here. So I wasn't able to execute outside Segura Go. And finishing this video, so Gabriel, what is the advantage of this function? Well, based on reports by Microsoft, 67% of security breaches could be prevented with the removing of privileged credentials in the Windows scenario, Windows machines from Engine. And with this, we can avoid executions of ransomwares, as example. Of course, the policy must be set up correctly, but since Go can avoid the possible or potential data breaks from the network, where these data, in case of ransomwares, would be encrypted, and to rescue these data, you would need to pay a ransom of at least $500,000 to get your data back. Well, thanks everyone for watching. This was a use case of principle of least privilege using Go, and I hope I could help you guys. Thank you for watching again.
I guess we are running out of time right now.
Yeah, I'm extremely sorry. That machine actually is taking updates, Windows updates. So I guess it will take time.
It's no
We
problem.
can share you all the video.
Yes.
How
Of course.
Go works.
Please, if you want to have more information about our Senha Segura Go feature, and also, of course, all of our features, you can access our website, and one of our team will reach you to demonstrate both Senha Segura and Senha Segura Go. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. So we want to thank you, everybody, to being part of this session. Please don't forget to fill in the satisfaction poll so we can improve our webinars. And I would like to thank personally Shaikh for the partnership of RAS for us in the Middle East. And also I want to thank Gabriel for being part of this webinar. And I want to thank everybody that participated on this session. We hope that we clarify your questions about privilege access management and the principle of least privilege. Okay. Anything you want to add here, Shaikh, before we end up the session?
That is all to conclude, David. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and thank you for joining the session. And there is a quick question coming from Sunil. How do we compare with the Beyond Trust? Okay, we have many different factors compared to Beyond comparing with Beyond Trust, because we have something called Threat Radar, which will monitor all your sessions, okay, 24/7, just by keeping that specific window open on any of your SOC platform. And second thing, we have the recorded sessions are doesn't take much resources, and we have a full solution where you can manage access groups. Okay.
Yeah, and so
we can share the articles, I guess.
And of course, Forrester has nominated Senha Segura as one of the most granular solution in their last wave report. This is something that I have to add.
And one of the most differentials that we have is the certification management solution. Senha Segura is the only solution that has certification manager.
Yeah, that is very, very important to add, Gabriel. Thank you very much. And there are some also competitive solutions between that has been already answered. So I think anything you want to add aside from this, Gabriel?
No, that's all. But I think Sunil wants a battle card of the solutions, detailed one. Is that correct, Sunil?
Sorry, I didn't get Gabriel. Sorry.
He's questioning about a more detailed battle card of the solutions.
Okay. Yeah, if you contact one of our sales team, we'll be happy to provide with this information. Okay, so please take a look at the website and our website, and please contact one of our salesperson that will be happy to provide you with this comparative analysis. Okay, well, thank you everybody. I think we're running out of time. Thank you for your time once more, and please fill in our satisfaction poll, please. Okay, thank you very much, and have you all a nice day. Thank you.
Audio Jungle.